What is up, and welcome back to the On The Burst podcast. I'm your coach, Brandon Savage, and I'm joined by my assistant coach, Big Les. How are you, Big Les? Footy is back. How good?
Mate, so good to just chill on my Sunday and watch some rugby league football. It was really, really good. I'll tell you what, mate, on the way over here, a bit of a new setup that we've got here, by the way, for your Monday listeners. But like just introduction to Oxford Street as well on the way over here. It was pretty interesting. But look, love the setup, mate. And I'm keen to get stuck into some footy over the weekend.
Yeah, well, it's funny. The people that listen to this on our feed, you upload this to your feed. So if you've got people listening on your feed, usually on our feed, we're here every Tuesday. So it's no different for them. But I don't know. It feels different now. It feels good.
Yeah, it does. It feels good. I feel like it's pretty profesh. Ready to get stuck in.
To be fair, the other studio is really professional as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Just like the level of production with the people out there and stuff, like it's full. Yeah, nice little setup here. I paused for a bit. I'm just so speechless. I don't know where to start from the weekend of footy. I'm just so excited. What'd you do for your weekend of footy?
Just chilled, had a few beers with the old man, and just sat back at the grandparents' place and watched the footy. Was really good to get stuck in, get some notes, and obviously super coaches out there as well, looking at your sides for round one, seeing how you went. But it was good just to sort of digest a bit of footy with first graders. I know the trials are great. It's great to have that little introduction to footy for the year as well. But just to have some like real good footy with some first graders in there, it was good to get an idea of where teams are coming into the season at.
Yeah, for sure. I headed over to Panthers. There was an event for Levels and Josh Mansell were there. They were speaking. It was pretty good, but they were going. It was like 10:55, and they were still going, and there was no footy on the screens. And I was looking outside, thinking, "Oh, is the footy going to start before we finish this?" So I had to sneak out the back and go watch the footy on the big screen, and did not miss a minute. It was a great day out. Me and Timmy got some content out at Panthers. We had plenty of drinks under us by the time we'd started. So I'm looking back at some of it, and I'm like, probably should have just eased up on the drinks a bit. But
honestly, don't put it past you after the charity match shenanigans. I'll tell you what, mate, I wouldn't put it past you at all. I'll tell you what, though, some people watching on the YouTube wouldn't notice that a little friend on the top lips disappeared, mate.
Yeah. I did have a comment on the YouTube last week that it didn't rattle me, but my dad suggested, "Oh, you should get rid of your mustache." And I was thinking about it, and then I saw a comment saying, "Oh, it's time to get rid of the mustache." And I'm like, I was already thinking about it. Then that comment kind of made me think, I can just do it. If I hate it, then I'll just grow it back. It'll be fine. It'll be grow back in 2 weeks. But I don't know. I'm getting a lot of positive reviews also. I feel like a part of me's gone.
Yeah, it does a bit. It feels really weird.
Now I'm just a basic white dude.
It is.
Does it feel different? Does it feel like you got a new co-host?
I feel like I'm speaking to a new person, mate.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
Yeah, well, the footy is back, so I am a new person.
Yeah, exactly.
But the Raiders played the Warriors, and I just want to point out number one person that I want to talk about in this game, and not necessarily because they were the best player on the field or anything, but last week in our predictions show, you said that Xavier Savage would be the breakout player of the year, and you also predicted him to play Origin. Yes, it looks like he might get suspended for a week or two, but he come out and when he scored the 2 tries and just every touch he had, he looked amazing. I was thinking of you.
Yep, mate. Tell you what, I don't come in here for shits and giggles, mate. I threw that one out there, just watching him in the preseason as well. Some of his movements, it worried me a little bit after making that call. But you look at that Vegas game, he was outstanding. Just some of his touches. I mean, you take away the 2 tries and you just watch his carries out of yardage. Those sweep plays, that Timoko try where he was swept out like a fullback and set Timoko up in space, like. He's so talented, and I think that he'll definitely be a guy that's considered for Origin for sure. I'm not going to pull back on that now.
Oh, I think so too, and he's come out, he's put a bit of size on, and it looks like he's just really happy with where his game's at the moment. I think in the past he's been quite unsure, he's been dropped, he's been benched. Is he a winger, is he a fullback? I think he's accepted the fact that he's going to probably play wing for the foreseeable future, to be honest, with Chevy Stewart coming through. And it looks like he's okay with that now. He's really coming to his own. And I loved what I saw from Xavier Savage. I love what I saw from the Raiders. The Raiders look really good. Who, apart from Savage, was a standout for you?
Mate, the other winger across the ditch, Savelio Tamale, I thought that he was outstanding too. Just yardage carries. Obviously in the trials he got manhandled a little bit in contact. He's really come out and made a statement with his physicality. 219 metres, 7 tackle busts, 2 line breaks, offloading there as well. 3 tackles, 0 missed out there on the Jeremy Sting. Mate, love Savelio Tamale coming into this year and had him in Supercoach as well, which was a nice little thing to wake up to.
Yeah, I actually talked a lot of people out of him because it didn't look like he was going to keep a spot for a long time. But now with Savage out, that's just gone out the window completely.
Even with Savage in the side, I think that he's going to keep that spot on that left wing.
I think so too. You look at his stats, 92 post-contact meters. He had the most out of any Canberra Raider. He had 95 kick return meters, so the Warriors definitely attacked his side.
Yep.
I think teams are not going to do that in the future because he really handled himself well.
And in space as well, he's very, very quick. It's a great pickup from Ricky and his Raiders. And I'll tell you what, I said on my podcast when we were doing the season previews that I thought that they were going to be a contender for the Spoon. I think my opinion's changed on the Raiders. I think they're just going to be that side that grinds it out. I mean, I'll tell you what, Nilso from What's New in the Castle certainly let me know about it when the Raiders won on the weekend. So, look, I'm keen to see how they go this year. I think that if these two are the wingers, just yardage carries, starting their sets off the right way, they're certainly putting themselves in good stead to go well this season.
Adding a bit of KO Weeks magic to that backline as well. I think their backline is pretty pristine, ready to go. Obviously, their spine is slightly young, but Ethan Strange yesterday, he looks like he's come out with another leg.
I did say it on the podcast yesterday. We were doing the reviews for this one. I think that Ethan Strange, you sort of look at his game last year, very one-dimensional, run-centric sort of game at 6. And it was probably the reason he moved into the centres. And I think what I was looking for Ethan Strange to do this year was to come out and to play a much more of a complete halves performance. And we saw that from him in this one. Kicking game was great. He did have a bit of that running flair and running game there. 2 try assists, 2 tackle busts. He was just everywhere and in everything. And just his ball playing is improved as well in the 6 jersey. He looks like a half now. Looked like a centre last year. He looks like a 5'8", and him combining with Fogarty was good as well.
I did a predicted 17 at the start of the year for them, and I liked the makeup of their side with Sanders in at 5'8" and Strange in at centres. Obviously, their back 5 looks pretty good now, and I think just because Strange is so versatile and can play either centre or 5'8", that's why I was happy to do that. But he came out yesterday and there was a tackle towards the middle of the field where there was 3 blokes on him, and he powered his way out of it. And just the strength he has for such a little bloke is insane.
Very strong contact.
It feels like last year he was on the cusp of absolutely having a breakout game, like that kind of game that really delivers a player onto the NRL stage. I think he's kind of waited till this year to kind of have that. I don't know if this is his full breakout game, but I feel like it's going to come. Like he's definitely on the cusp of it now.
100%. He was really, really smooth yesterday. It looks really good with Fogarty. I also think that you got to give Fogarty a bit of credit too. I think that his decision making in this one was really pivotal, especially when you've got across the ditch, which we'll talk about when we talk about the Warriors. Metcalf, who unfortunately, when it came to his decision making, wasn't completely in the right zone. But Fogarty, it just shows how important he is to this side as well, the structure that they were able to maintain, just keeping a real simple game plan. When the Raiders sort of started to get hot and they started to, move the ball around a bit, Fogarty was the one to sort of calm them down and bring them back, which I thought was really, really good as well. So we sort of saw it last year when he was out with the bicep, but I think even more so in this game, you sort of start to see how important Fogarty is to their structure.
I think mature halfbacks like Fogarty. I got confused because I call him Fogarty and you're calling him Fogarty. So, Jamal Fogarty. I think he epitomizes what a mature halfback can do for a rugby league side. Yeah. And if I put him in any club, I would be stoked if it looks like Daly Cherry Evans is looking to move on from Manly potentially. That's kind of the words around the traps. If they sign Jamal Fogarty, I would be super stoked with that. I think him at any club, I think he will solve an issue at the Rabbitohs potentially. he would solve an issue at the Warriors. Potentially the Titans too. We want to see how they go. But him at the Dogs even, like, I feel like he could do a real impact on another team. But Canberra just look like they've locked him down, and he makes that side a lot better. And he guides the talent around, because there's a lot of talent there.
It does sound like him and Ricky have become very close as well, so watch this space, but I think Fogarty might stay. As good as Sanders is, and while he's the future, I think that Fogarty, as I said, just how important he is to this side, not only with his structure, but his kicking game as well. His kicking game was terrific yesterday. Just getting them out of trouble on those last tackle plays. He was fantastic. I'll tell you who else was pivotal for them yesterday. Tom Starling.
Oh.
What a performance from him out of 9, just running the ball, recognising tied defenders. He had that long break down the left corridor. Ford was rushing back, and he pretty much just absolutely capitalised on that tied marker. Wade Egan was coming back out of marker, had missed him because he come out too wide and was targeting A. A was Ford, and Ford was going backwards, retreating, so he just goes straight through that gap. He's so smart, Tom Starling. There was reports linking into the Rabbitohs not too long ago. I'm spewing that we would have missed out on him if we did, or if it was even true, those rumours. But he's such a good player, and I think that he's going to be one that's in for a breakout season this year too.
I think so too, and I love him and Owen Paddy on the bench. I think Tom Starling is that kind of player who, he doesn't need to play 80 minutes. He can get a spell here and there. He's an explosive player that does rely on explosiveness. He's fit enough to do 80 minutes, don't get me wrong. But I feel like him at 9 is the perfect way to blood Paddy, because you don't need to put Paddy onto the field. You can put Paddy onto the field in certain scenarios and, kind of ease him into the game. And then there will be a stage where maybe Tom Starling goes down. They will need to rely on Paddy. I feel like that'll be a kind of good time for him to come out and, get that kind of big minute exposure. But at the moment, I like their kind of rotation there. If it was Levi on the bench, it's kind of awkward with Levi, because what does he bring off the bench? At least on Paddy, you're bringing someone through, and you're really future-proofing yourself.
That's crazy how that's happened, eh? Like, he's beaten Levi to that jersey, a guy that's played for New Zealand, that's done so much in the game, played for a number of teams, has so much experience. The fact that Owen Paddy's beaten him into that jersey, and look, rightfully so, had a huge preseason. He actually reminds me a little bit of Reece Robson, to be honest. Just defensively very strong, really good service. He has those moments where he can come out of dummy half and really capitalise on those tied markers and tied forwards around the ruck. He's dangerous, Owen Paddy, and I think that, you say that, he's a guy that they might not need in certain scenarios, in certain games. I think that there'll be a real emphasis on getting him onto the field for at least 20 to 30 minutes a game. I think that he'll be a real key part of their attack.
100%. He'll be on the field at least 20 minutes a game. And I think by the end of the year, we might see Tom Starling and him have a bit of a shifted roles to what they do now. But I did like how they were both on the field at the same time at one point.
Yeah.
Which was good, because I think Tom Starling can play an explosive kind of lock role for a short burst.
Yeah.
I don't think he could do it for a long time, but for a short burst, potentially.
I loved what I saw for that last year. That was huge. It was massive for Canberra and their attack. It was a big reason as to why they did so well at the back end of the year.
Yep.
Just going into that lock role, it's a point of difference. And it's a point of difference even from guys like Kurt Mann and Dylan Walkers and these sort of guys, because Tom Starling's just pure speed.
Yep.
If there's gaps in between A and B, he's got it sorted. Like, he'll really work hard and just kill you with your speed. So, yeah, Tom Starling, I think that he is going to be pivotal for them. I wouldn't be surprised if he hops into that lock forward role for at least 15 minutes in a game.
Yep.
You get Owen Paddy on to sort of capitalise on those tired markers. You get him standing in between marker and A and just getting absolutely hitting those lines really hard and capitalising on those tired markers. So, yeah, I really like it. I love Paddy. We only got to see him for about 20 minutes. He did okay. I thought he had a good little stint there in Vegas. Mate, one guy that I thought was huge for the Raiders as well, Corey Horsburgh.
He was massive. I feel like it's fitting that he pretty much announced himself once again in Las Vegas, because Big Red is one of the best poker machines going around in Sydney at the moment. But he was amazing. He looks back to his 2023 best.
Yeah.
He was very good in 2023.
Do you reckon that his ceiling this year is State of Origin?
Yeah, for sure. I think he could potentially play for Australia at the end of the year.
You reckon?
Yeah, I think he's that good. He, like, you kind of look at the Australian side, Lindsay Collins. I know they probably will pick Lindsay Collins, but, you know, Payne Haas and Tino decide to pledge their allegiance to Samoa, then we're in real trouble for middles. And I think he gets a sniff, at least on the bench, potentially. But I believe in his abilities, and that's going to be him every single week, in my opinion. If him and Ricky are on good terms, he's fit, I don't see a world where he's going to drop off from this.
Question. They went for Josh Papali'i to start the other day. Do you reckon that we could see Corey with 13? Because they did push Smithies to the bench to start the game. Is that sort of the rotation that we think we're going to see now?
I think Josh Papali'i did get named to start at 13, but effectively I think Corey was playing 13.
Yeah.
Because I saw multiple times he was that link man to get it out to the edges for them. He was offloading quite a bit, but it was Tarpanay's job and Papali's job to get the meters up front, and it was his job to create off-the-cuff footy. So I think he was the guy who was playing 13, or even though he was named at 8.
I'll tell you what, though, like when Smithies came on, his ball playing has improved a ton since last year. Like last year, he was like a deer in headlights. He was just catch the ball, run, play the ball. That was it. That was his job. He played like a front rower. But this year, like even in the trials, he sort of saw a few unders balls happening. He was getting a few tip-ons going. Like he was starting to sort of learn how to move the ball around. Maybe that's because it's just where the game's at the moment, where front rowers are having these sort of hands. But I'll tell you what, though, like with that late change, it sort of starts to get you thinking, does Smithies turn into that bench front rower, and do we see Horsburgh take the 13?
Yeah, potentially. I guess with teams like this, it doesn't really matter what number you're wearing on your back. It's just everyone has their certain roles in the team. But yeah, Morgan Smithies was elite off the bench, and he made 38 tackles. No, not many misses. I don't think there was any misses, to be honest.
Horsburgh? 3.
3 missed.
Yeah, but 35 made. That's still pretty good.
Jesus Christ, the NRL. So Morgan Smithies 38 tackles, 1 missed.
Oh, for Morgan Smithies?
Yeah, 38, 1
tackle,
missed. And then Horsburgh 35 tackles, 3 missed with 92.11 tackle efficiency is pretty good though. So
what about Hudson Young yesterday?
Hudson Young looked really good. Like on the stat sheet, it doesn't really say much. Like he had 27 tackles, only ran for 120. Oh, sorry, he made 41 tackles.
Yeah, 41 tackles. Yeah.
2 ineffective tackles, 3 effective tackles.
Him and Hosking were just unbelievable.
How good are the edges there? I think Hudson Young's in for a massive year.
Yeah.
I actually tipped him to be Dally M second row of the year. So
yeah, well, look, you're definitely on stead to getting that one right. He was massive for them. Even when the forwards, like through the middle, some of the benchies, they didn't want to take that next carry. He was in there straight away to take it. He was almost like coming in and trying to play a bit of a linkman role in the middle as well, and then going back to his left edge. But his line running is superb. He looks tougher. He looks bigger. He looks hungry, especially after last year getting snubbed from Origin after game 1. I think he's hungry to get back in that arena too.
100%. I think he takes another level this year. Zach Hosking, obviously, 68 minutes. He had a good stint of it as well. 44 tackles. He had a nice ball to, was it Tamale?
I think so, yeah.
Did he go back inside to Timoko for that try?
No, the Timoko try was the Xavier Savage was running that fullback sweep line and then hit Tamale, and Tamale come out and then hit back to Timoko on the inside. That was that one. Was that
the Hosking setup?
No, because
Hosking just set up the try, didn't he?
Hosking set up a try. I think it might have been.
Yeah, I don't remember.
We'll get back to you on that.
Yeah, we need to watch the highlights.
Might have been one of the Savage tries because he was on the right side.
Potentially,
might have been one of the Savage tries.
I guess it doesn't matter, but that ball was crisp.
Yeah, he's a good footy player, Hosking, and he's in the air as well. He's destructive. If Fogus can get a few kicks over his way, he's going to be dangerous in this season, especially how he started last year before he got injured. I'm keen to see how he goes this year. He's going to be a weapon. Yeah,
100%. I think that's most of the people we need to touch on for the Canberra Raiders. Let's vote our burster of the week for the Canberra Raiders.
The burster of the week,
the
mate,
burster
of
the week.
Watch out.
It's a tough tie between Horsburgh and Savage for me.
I think it's Savage. What Savage was doing yardage-wise, just that fullback sweep play, did it a number of times. The 2 tries, he was just unbelievable for them, just multifaceted performance. Corsbrough was very good. He's definitely close second. But Savage for me was a clear standout.
I think I'm going to have to go Savage as well because there were some times during the week that you called me Xavier Savage.
Yeah, that's it. Brandon Xavier Savage.
Brandon Xavier Savage. I love it. All right. On the other side of the park, the Warriors. They were very disappointing.
They were disappointing. I'll tell you what, though. The idea of attack was right. I almost think
Do you think so?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was the right. It was just what we've seen from the Warriors in past seasons. It's the cherry on top. It's the execution. The plays were right. It was just the execution that was wrong. I also think, though, like, you look at their attack, similar to last year, it's almost like it's an attack suited to SJ. They've got to start to suit the attack more to Metcalf. Because they played a certain way and a certain structure for so long that's worked for them with SJ in the building. Now Metcalf is the new 7. It's almost like they've come into the year with the same sort of plan. Oh, it will work. Metcalf, SJ, similar players. And it doesn't work. But what I also think with Metcalf is there was a certain period in the second half where you just looked at him and you went, he doesn't feel like they can get back here.
He's rattled.
Not that he had given up, but yes, he was just rattled.
I think my issue with how they played was it wasn't molded the way of SJ. They went left a lot more than they did right, and when SJ was in the side, they were very right heavy.
Yeah.
I thought they missed a trick because from what I gathered in the trials, I felt Metcalf was going to sweep and be kind of the fullback on that left side play.
Yeah.
We didn't see Chance or Metcalf really go down that corridor, whereas. And it felt like they went there a lot, and it was Chanel Harris-Tavita running the show. And they kept going left and not really throwing much at them. Yeah, they scored 2 tries on the left, and maybe this is a game plan type thing. But if they're going to go left so heavy, I think you've got to have Metcalf or Chance Nickel-Klokstad just involved more times often than not in those plays.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they certainly should have gone a little bit more to that left side. They did go there quite a bit, but just getting those guys like Metcalf and Chance involved. Metcalf was involved in a lot of those spread sets. I just feel like he just needs to... we've got to remember here, Metcalf came into this team from the Sharks as a fullback 5'8". He didn't come through as a halfback. He played a lot of fullback at the Sharks. I feel like we've just got to give him a bit of time to learn the game as not only a 7, but a first grade 7, just demanding the football, having that confidence where even if you are down by a bit of a margin, not to just put your hands on the hips and go, yeah, you know what, I think we've been beaten on
We're
the park
done.
today.
Yeah.
But just to, have that sort of confidence where, you're out there for 80 minutes, play the full 80 minutes, try and win for the full 80 minutes. And even if you are down by a margin and it might seem like that win is a bit further away, just to have the ability to continue your processes, to get the people around you, your players, your teammates on board as well. I just feel like Metcalf, it did get to the point where, about 50, 60 minutes in, he's just like, you know what, it's probably run away from me a little bit here. I'm just going to sort of sit back and let the other guys go. And even when Dylan Walker came on, Dylan Walker was pretty much playing halfback. Came on and was directing play. He was trying to be that first receiver. And Metcalf just sort of sat back and was like, "Yep, no worries, mate. You'll set your team now." Yeah. So I think just having the confidence to push other guys out of the way as well, to challenge other guys in the team, because at the end of the day, Metcalf's the halfback. He's got to be the halfback.
Yeah, and I guess if losing SJ is massive, but Tohu Harris was someone in that side that kind of did what Dylan Walker was doing on the weekend, but probably to a more elite level. I'm not super worried about Metcalf. I think you've definitely got to be patient with him. I think it just baffles me that you've got Chanel Harris-Tavita alongside him. I think in those situations, you've got to have someone like Tamari Martin there who has been there and done it before, and he can take over if things go to shit.
I tell you what, mate, I disagree. I think Chanel Harris-Tavita was easily the best player on the park for
you
the
reckon?
Warriors. Yeah.
Oh, I thought he played solid, but
good.
I don't think he's got enough ability to help Metcalf there. I don't think he's the perfect partner for Metcalf.
He tried. I think he tried.
He did try, but trying doesn't, what if I was the best trier? Like,
Yeah.
is it NRL side going to sign me? Like,
yeah, I know. I'm not what you're saying.
Yeah.
I feel like Chanel did try and take that side back and sort of take a little bit more control. It's probably why they were so left side dominant and they kept going to that left because he kept calling for it.
Yeah.
I feel like in that sense, yeah, sure, but I don't think that Tamale Martin is necessarily a better halfback than Chanel is.
No.
I think that at the end of the day, if you're going to bring anyone in, I think it's Tanner Boyd.
Yeah.
Especially with the kicking game.
I don't mind that at all.
I think that you'd probably have to bring him in and play very similar to how we saw it at the Sharks and why they were so good for the most part on the weekend. Trindle was playing halfback, but we're in the 6, and then Hines was playing 7, but playing really as a 5'8".
Yeah, and I really like that kind of setup for them because Luke Metcalf is naturally a 6 coming through, but like putting the 7 on his back says, I'm the attacking player. And I can ice it for us if we need to.
I feel like they missed Boyd in his kicking game as well yesterday.
I think so too. I think you're right there with Tanner Boyd should be the partner. I get what you're saying in Chanel Harris-Tavita. He tried a lot. He did as much as he could.
Yeah.
I think you're completely right there. He definitely overcalled, probably knew that Luke Metcalf was not feeling quite comfortable, but he'll ease into it and... Maybe it's just one bad week for them. Maybe the Raiders were just so good at choking them in that sort of yardage. But let's just speak about some other players. Roger, he was pretty busy. Scored a try, 191 meters, 77 post contact, 23 runs. I really enjoyed watching him on the wing, and I've already heard James Graham say Roger needs to play fullback. I disagree because I feel like he roamed enough, and I feel like he's going to have a very similar impact on the wing than he would at fullback.
I'll tell you what though, a lot of criticism on Chance on the weekend. I don't buy it at all. I think that he didn't have a great attacking performance. I mean, 89 meters speaks for itself. But I feel like he saved about 5 or 6 tries on their line as well.
Yeah.
So I think with that, you've sort of got to take that into account as well. Could have been a much bigger scoreline if you didn't have Chance at the back there at fullback and that experience out there at fullback as well. But you're right though. Talking about Roger, played very, very well coming out of yardage. We talked about those yardage carries for Tamale and for Savage. I thought that he was really good in that area as well. 191 meters, 77 post contact, 3 tackle busts. He was very, very good, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. And I feel like that edge too with him and Pompey, I don't mind that either. Pompey I thought was good on the weekend too.
Yeah, I've never really been a massive fan of Pompey, mainly because I had Montoya in my Supercoach team for a long time and he never passed the ball to him. But I thought he did really well on the weekend. I think Pompey can do a solid job there defensively and attackingly, and I think him and Roger will probably make a good pairing this year.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that they look to combine well. Leah Tower on the other side as well. I thought that he had some nice touches, but it seemed like whenever Hudson Young got the ball, he just got smashed. I feel like defensively, he's
he had a rough time. There was a few times he was on the ground and a bit bumped, a bit rattled. He didn't get enough clean ball in attack either, so can't really blame him. And like Tuipiki, the same thing, catching a cold out there. Still ran for 16 runs, 130 meters, 2 tackle breaks for Tuipiki. Leah Tower, very similar, 12 runs, 126 meters, 56 post contact.
You've definitely got to get a lot more ball at that right side, don't you? Because that's their strike side.
I think so.
I know that you got Roger at the left side, which obviously is going to work for you in some of those sets. Leah Tower is a freak.
Yeah.
And Tuipiki as well. Like, that's your strike side. Metcalf's got to get the ball out there.
100%. And maybe just Hudson Young defending on that edge was just so good that they just couldn't really throw anything at them. So nothing to worry there. I'm definitely keen to see how they back it up round 2. At home, we've got James Fish-Harris, pretty good stint. He played 45 minutes for 117 run meters, 14 runs.
Is it fair to say that Leota looked better than Fish on the weekend?
Yeah, I think so.
I think like Fish played well, and obviously the stats tell you the story there. Only 1 missed tackle, 117 meters, 46 post contact, 64 post contact. Sorry. Look, I mean, he looked good. The stats tell the story, but in regards to impact for your team, like we'll talk about him later. But Leota for me was probably the better performance, and that's crazy because what was the big talking point with Fish leaving the Panthers was that Leota was going to miss him. How many minutes is Leota going to play? And Fish leaves that Panthers side, and Fish is the one that's probably struggling without Leota there.
Yeah, Fish is Yeah, that could be a crazy narrative to come out of this year. Like Fish and Leota breaking up. It's like Fish is the one leaving. Everyone expects Leota's going to be the one that kind of regresses. But
yeah, it's the other way around, isn't
maybe
it?
if it is the other way around, it could be a massive kind of another tick for the Penrith system that they just get the best out of everyone. But Fisher-Harris, first game for the club, so not really going to take too much out of the performance. I think on fields and stats-wise, it doesn't really paint the picture of what he brings to a side. Barnett played pretty well, 39 minutes. Capewell, not too bad. Missed 9 tackles, though.
I think Capewell, I honestly think he could end up in Cup
Yeah.
in the next few weeks.
I think so too.
Scored that try, but fuck, he just looks like he's worn out. His body just doesn't look up for it anymore.
It doesn't look like he can play a starting role on the edge.
No.
And like Niakura as well, I thought he was quite one-dimensional. I think he did what he could.
Yeah.
They didn't. It feels like they were running the block plays, but kept giving it to him. So I think a lot of.
I'll tell you what, I really don't like Jackson Ford at front row.
Yeah.
I mean, he played well. Again, the stats tell you the story there. The 100 metres, did well, just yardage-wise, tough. But he's a better back rower.
Yep.
And I know that, you got to give that respect to Capewell. He's the experienced guy. But, fuck, I think that if it doesn't work in the next 3 rounds, I wouldn't even give it that long. I'd probably just let Capewell down easy and just have him in Cup.
Yeah, I think Laban, when he comes back, the blokes that came on, I'm not sure if it was Hallam Seema or Val Mega.
Look at how
Did both of them play edge?
I think that Leka came on the edge because he's more of an edge. Valmonga is more of a middle. They didn't get too many minutes, so you sort of couldn't really Halasema played 26 minutes, Valmonga only 13 minutes. That's what I don't like either about the Warriors. I think the minutes disparity is shit.
It's weird, eh? Like,
I think it's bad.
Like, Mitch Barnett only played 55 minutes. I feel like...
Only? It's 50. That's still 51.
No, sorry, 51 minutes. Fisher-Harris, 46. You've got Niakura on the edge, 54. Aaron Clark, 46. 51 for Jackson Ford. If you've got edges that aren't playing 80 minutes, where's your bigger minute middle forward? Like, are they going to struggle without AFB this year as that bigger middle forward?
I almost think I don't want Barnett playing 51 minutes.
What, you think that's too much?
I think it's too much. I'd have both of them playing at least 40 minutes, Barnett and Fish.
Yep.
And then I'd have these Leka Halasema, Dimitri, I'd have them playing at least 20, 25, 30 minutes a game.
Are they going to miss AFB because of that bigger minute middle forward that can plug a hole in there to allow these other guys around them to play less minutes?
I feel like they are. I also feel like, we saw a little bit of it with the Panthers, with Fish, got injured obviously last year. I think if they smash Fish and Barnett and give them big minutes, then obviously Barnett has to go play Origin as well. They're going to get smashed. They're going to be worn out by the end of the year. Like, they've got to really start to even out these minutes. There's no AFB in this side anymore.
Yep.
Even out the minutes. You can't have your starting guys playing more than 50 minutes. It's ridiculous. Said the same thing about Parramatta with Regan Campbell-Gillard and Junior Paulo. Like, they're getting towards the back end of those two in particular. Like, why absolutely smash them for 60 minutes?
Yep.
And then play the younger guys who need opportunities for 10 minutes.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
There's not much else I really want to talk about here, I guess.
I'll tell you what, I think we talked about the forwards and then, the Canberra Raiders rolling them a little bit. Wade Egan was a real victim of that, eh?
Yeah.
He just couldn't do anything. He had not much momentum. When he did have momentum, he looked good. There was some real nice craftiness out of Ruck, out of 9. But when they didn't, you could tell because he just couldn't do anything. It was just that pass off the deck and hope for the best.
51 tackles?
Yeah.
51 tackles.
Plenty of work in defence for sure, but attacking-wise, he just suffered with the amount of momentum the Warriors were having.
Yeah, and I think an explosive forward like AFB leaving the club could potentially be a bad thing for someone like Wade Egan because are they going to be able to find that role on more often than not?
I think, it's going to be really interesting. I think that they've got to play that mobile 13. They changed their team list late, I believe. Yeah, they had Barnett at lock and they moved forward in the front row. Scrap that. I would have Barnett staying in the front row. Yep. I'd have your Aaron Clark or your Dylan Walker. I'd have probably Aaron Clark at the moment.
It makes no sense to me to have Walker and Clark on the bench at the same time.
Yeah,
I feel like if anything, they've got to rotate between each other.
I feel like that screwed them more. 'Cause
Yeah.
you have two mobile guys coming on at the same time,
Yeah.
smaller bodies, and then bang, they just get bashed.
While they're getting dominated.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. I'd definitely have Aaron Clark starting, and especially as well, like Aaron Clark starting, they're a bit more of a mobile body as well there through the middle. You have that ball playing, and then Walker as well coming on, adding that impact around tired forwards, having that rotation and just having that mobile guy on for the full 80 is just really, really, it's valuable. It's very valuable to a side to have them both coming off the bench at the same time. Two smaller bodies, that doesn't work. You just got to have one rotating.
100%. Who's your burster of the week for the Warriors? It's a bit slim pickings, but I'm probably going to go Roger. I think Roger looked really good.
He did, mate. Yeah.
And I feel like they could have won 50-0, the Warriors, and he would have had exactly the same game.
Like you said, Roger, I'm going to say something different. I think that I'm probably going to give it a two-way tie between Chanel Harris-Tavita and, for me, Chance. And Chance, the reason I'm going to give it to Chance is because defensively, like, as I said, like there was nearly 5 or 6 tries scored on that side, right on their line, and he defended all of them. Legs tackles, one-on-one with Fish, one-on-one with Barnett. He's saving so many opportunities for the Raiders. I feel like he's so crucial to them out the back at fullback. We spoke about it last week. Defensively, he's just so crucial for them out there. The criticism around Chance is ridiculous.
Yep.
I think that, you got to give him credit for that game. Defensively, he was very strong. And then Chanel just, trying to get them back into it. He's going to be a real good watch, I guess, this year as well, if they do want to sort of go down that Sharkies route and have the 6 playing more of a dominant role and the 7 playing more of that low percentage explosive role.
Yeah, and I think with Chance, you've got to make Chanel Harris-Tavita, you want guys like that in a side that's getting torched to be still making 100% effort by the end of the game.
Yeah, 100%. Do you so just a quick one before we move on, do you put Tanner Boyd in soon at 6? How long are you giving Chanel and Metcalf?
I'm putting Tanner Boyd in straight away.
You're
to be
put him in
honest,
straight away?
I think he might have been under an injury cloud anyway. But I don't know if Chanel has the ceiling or enough capability to be that partner.
I'm probably going to give it at least another 2 weeks. Like, I don't want to get into Newcastle Knights areas where we're changing our halves every week in all 2 weeks. So I'd probably give it another 2 weeks. I think they do miss the kicking game though, for sure.
If Tanner Boyd wasn't available to be picked this round, and he is available shortly, I'd pick him straight away. If he was available this round and they've gone with Chanel for a reason, then I would hold on.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm probably the same.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Penrith Panthers play the Sharks, and I was very excited to announce that my bet of the week last week was the Sharks to beat the Penrith Panthers, and I thought I was a genius for jumping on it before team list had dropped, because I was getting sniffed that Brian To'o was out and it was going to look very grim for them, potentially.
It looked that way, didn't it?
It did. They started slow, but the Penrith Panthers just keep on Penrith Panthering. I don't want to talk about the obvious ones straight away, but I just want to give a rap to Jack Cole.
Yeah.
I think he played a really good position, and I think it's just a testament to the Panthers system. And, a guy like Blaise Talangi, yes, he's an elite talent, but putting him in the side straight away when he's not fully aware of how the systems work and how their defensive structures go, I think it's a credit to Penrith, and it's just a testament to the systems they've got going up there.
100%, mate. You could obviously tell, even when Laurie came onto the wing, like you could just tell the systems were so good. To have a fullback and a back rower on the left edge together, and for them to still defend, for the most part, the Sharkies and their opportunities, that is insane. Really good performance by the Panthers. It was funny, like I was doing the review and I was talking about the Sharks and I was like, oh, you know what, their completions compared to the Panthers wasn't that good, blah, blah, blah. You look at the stats, the Sharks completed better, they had less errors, Panthers gave away more penalties, and yet Panthers looked like the better completing side.
Yeah.
Like how does that work? Like, that's just insane. You spoke about Cole, mate. I was sort of saying on the podcast, it's almost the same but different for Luai. Like Luai, with Cleary, Luai and Cole, the similarity they share is they complement Cleary and what he does on the field, right? The difference for me is that Cole plays a very Kyle Flanagan-esque role where he sort of just plays off the back of Cleary, whereas Luai adds something to Cleary's play. Like on those left side raids, Luai, whether it be a grubber kick in on last tackle, whether it be a cutout pass to the winger, something amazing. He adds a low percentage play off the back of Cleary, whereas Cole just complements and just goes with the plan that Cleary sort of envisions, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And I almost feel like that works well for Cleary as well. And I feel like, especially in a side where Cleary's probably going to be doing a lot more work, or at least that's what it looked like on the weekend, it is good, I think, in my opinion, to have a guy like Cole there who can complement him in those areas. I'll tell you what, though, like I was still pretty shocked that Taulagi didn't even get a sniff, even in the back line. And even Jesse McLean over Garner too. That's a huge statement to make.
It just proves that they want people to be 100% around their systems, and they're willing to do that if it's at the cost of a young player potentially getting upset that someone who probably lesser talent gets a starting spot over them, because eventually they will get the spot and they'll be better off for it. So. Yeah. It probably sucks for him that he didn't get a spot in the Vegas side, but I think it'll be better for him in the long run. Papali'i came off the edge, not much of an impact. I didn't really notice him, to be honest, but he made a couple of runs.
He was good, Papali'i. I thought he was good. 49 minutes, had a real good stint. More so through the middle than on the edge. Didn't miss a tackle. Oh, did he? Hold on. Yeah, no, didn't miss a tackle when he came on. Very solid Papali'i, I thought. Was really strong through the middle. Cut open his lip, had to get it stapled, and then came back onto the field, which was just crazy. But I thought he was pretty good when he came on. Him and Luron Patea defensively, the line speed that they had to maintain off the back of guys like Leota and Smith and how they started the game. They were outstanding. I thought both of them came on and did a really good job just in the defensive department. Patea probably should have had a few more runs in his stint. Played 14 odd minutes, only had the 2 runs.
Yep.
But 28 metres, 2 runs is still pretty decent as well. It's 10 metres a run. I was impressed with Papali'i though. I thought that he came on and did his role well. I just want to see him in more of he comes on for Yo, has a bit of ball playing, similar to what we saw from the Tigers sort of thing. Is that sort of what you want to see from Papali'i? Do you reckon he should just play on the edge? What's your read?
I don't know. I think he's kind of the Kurt Capewell mold, where I don't think he's agile enough to play on the edge.
Really?
Yeah.
I just think that he's been, not guilty. I think he's been a recipient of the fact that he's been in that Tigers system.
Yeah.
I feel like that's hurt him a little bit. I think that now that he's in this Panthers system, a side that's shining a lot more, especially when you saw what you did at Parramatta as well on the edge, I think he could do an edge role well. I almost think that now we've seen him in the middle at the Tigers, it's sort of got in everyone's heads that, he can do a really good job as that ball-playing middle forward.
Yep.
But he didn't play that role yesterday, though. He played like a front rower and just tackled hard, line speed.
Yo plays 80 minutes, so you don't need him in there doing that.
Well, I think I want Yo playing 80 minutes.
I think I do. I think...
I mean, he can, and it's great. But if you want to go for a 5th premiership, he's been going again and again and again for 5 years. He's been in 5 straight grand finals.
I know.
He's played for Australia for 4 or 5 straight years.
Yep.
Like, he's playing the full year for 5 years straight, going on his 6th year straight, and he's playing 80 minutes.
Yeah, you don't need him playing 80 minutes round 1, but I think at least until they get a proper rotation going with their forwards, then don't experiment
until they work it out for sure. Then I think that's okay. But fuck, Yo playing 80 minutes.
I get it.
Worries me.
I get it, but like if he plays 80 minutes all year and then they get to a grand final and plays 80 minutes and they win a comp again, like
it's going to be worth it for sure.
Yeah, no one's going to bat an eyelid. But the thing is, if he does get injured, that's when it's going to be the talking point.
Yeah, for sure.
If it is like an over kind of use injury. Where was I going to go with this? Lindsay Smith, 60 minutes, 47 tackles.
He was huge.
With life without Fish, it looks like, every year we say it, life without Critter, life without Burton, life without Spencer.
Yeah. Someone
just comes in and does a job, and Lindsay Smith, 47 tackles, probably notched up a couple more stats than Fish in the past has. And played more minutes. Fish only averaged 45 minutes last year.
He was outstanding, Lindsay Smith. Defensively on their line as well, he was solid. But just a few of his runs, decision making. He played a very smart game, very, very smart game. And for him to play that number of minutes as well, what a weapon. I think that it really helped Leota as well. And, even Leota, like he's usually a shorter stint guy, played 41 minutes. 41 minutes for Leota. He had 99 metres from 10 carries, 40 post contact, tackle bust in there, 0 missed tackles from 27 made. Like, Leota was outstanding. If we're picking a burster of the week for this side, I think I know who you're going to go for, but for a bit of a point of difference, I'm going to go with Moses Leota.
Who do you think I'm going to go for?
Oh, Cleary.
Oh, of course. Oh, I thought you were going to say I was going to go Lindsay Smith.
No.
I just love the way Cleary operates. Like them 2 kicks, the 40-20 that wasn't given a 40-20.
Yeah.
Just so smart. I heard the guru talk about how they had noticed that he got some inside word saying that the coaching staff had noticed that Will Kennedy had copped an injury and he was just a bit behind the 8 ball, and that they sent a message down to the field, and Cleary was like, I already knew four sets ago, like I'm 4 steps ahead of you. So like we're just witnessing greatness at the moment, and for him to come out and do that in round 1 with pretty much not much contact training, he's just come back to contact training after that shoulder injury.
And not only that, but he was putting shots on with Kennedy.
he is a strong person.
Yeah.
And I think with a performance like that, like the Dahlia medal this year is under threat, because if he stays on the park for the majority of the season, like you predicted last week,
I think he'll be the Dahlia medal.
Yeah,
I cannot see it going anywhere else, to be honest. I think it'll be between him and Reece Walsh. I think that's probably the 2 that I'd probably have up there.
Yep. You're high on Manly, so surely Tommy's a sniff.
Yeah, Tommy's a sniff as well. But yeah, look, for me, if I'm picking a top 2, it's him and Walshy. But yeah, Cleary was just on another level. Like, so good. If he dominates Origin, like, is he the GOAT? Is he the GOAT?
I already think he is. I don't think he needs to dominate Origin. I think we've seen Immortals being crowned for different things in the game.
Yeah.
Like, I think we remember Joey. Joey was just good at everything he did, so it's hard to argue with him. But like, I feel like Thurston being in the 8 in a row, getting aside to the 2015 grand final in the Cowboys, but there's been Cooper Cronk, who pretty much every side he's been in has been successful. But Nathan Cleary, it feels like without him, Penrith don't win 4 in a row, which I can confidently say they wouldn't have.
Yeah, for sure. He was huge. He was huge for them in all their grand finals. He just steps up and goes to another level. Even in this game, even in a round 1 game with a little bit of a depleted team against the Sharkies, who are pretty much full strength, to go out and do that was just insane. What a player. And just like to credit this whole Penrith side as well, defensively very strong. The Sharks looked rattled, but you got to give credit to the Sharks as well. They stuck in. But for Penrith to get that job done, Lindsay Smith, Cole, you gave credit to him before, to step in and into a Luai shoe, guy that's played Origin, and to do as well as he did and just simplify his role. Mate, Alamotti was huge. That whole right side, I mean, we're going to get to it in a second. Alamotti, Isaac Tungo, Liam Martin, holy shit. That has to be a right edge. That has to be a right edge.
I thought for some reason that Alamotti was going to play left wing, but I guess it makes sense for Alamotti, the new winger, to play outside. Tungo's been there for ages, and To'o to play next to Casey McLean, who's the rookie. So if that's going to be the way going forward, then
I'm happy with it.
I'm happy with that.
I'm happy with it. Alamotti was huge defensively, and then 195 metres, 59 post contact. Had a tackle bust in there as well. He was huge. He was absolutely huge for them. Really impressive performance from Alamotti. Tungo as well, attacking wise, running really good lines. Liam Martin is just an animal. He is an animal. Like some of those tackles and hits that he put on, just not scared of anyone. And the Sharks were well and truly rattled by him. He was unbelievable.
100%. This whole Penrith side, you could wrap everyone. Yo, another great performance. 147 metres, scored a try. He only scored like 2 or 3 tries last year, and he's already off the mark in the first game. So
good signs.
This whole Penrith side, you know, they've won round 1 for the first time in 3 years, which could mean that different ending.
I don't know. I really don't know.
if they weren't the favourites already, then after yesterday, they've become the favourites.
I want to say Melbourne first. I want
Yep.
to see Melbourne and how they come into the year first because they haven't lost around one in, 20 years?
Yep.
So I want to see how they come into the year first. But, Penrith, what a start to the season for them, 28-22 against the Sharkies at full strength.
Pretty tricky performance for Melbourne, for the Parramatta Eels to be playing Melbourne next week. But, I'm interested to see how Penrith...
that's the best test for them, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. See where they're at.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
The Sharks. I thought the Sharks were pretty good, but I want to tackle it straight away. You said, what do the Sharks... When we asked in the preseason podcast, what do we think the Sharks need to do to win a comp this year? You said, give the keys to Trindle. It looks like that is the case. He's goal kicking, which I thought about you once again. Take the goal kicking away from Hines, which I think is a good thing. But I think Hines still, I've seen a bit of criticism for him still.
You can't. He's the sixth in this side. I mean, look, like not even the goal kicking as well, but you look at the actual in play kicking. Trindle 536 meters kicked, and then Hines only 164 from 5 kicks. Like it's clear that Trindle is the 7 in this side. I think that they've really got it down pat well. I think that they both combine well. Trindle, some of the plays that he came up with yesterday, holy shit! Like I was considering calling him the GOAT. He was unbelievable. Like some of those short tip-ons, just the awareness from some of his kicks as well. Played a very smart game. He's a halfback. He's come through as a halfback, and he showed us why he is or should be the halfback in this side as well. Like 2 try assists, 35 run meters in there as well. He was fantastic. 14 tackles. I thought that he was really impressive, Braden Trindle. So, just a real smart game from him. And then Hines playing off the back of that. Hines, that first try assist out to Ramian. Oh, that ball was beautiful. That was beautiful. And I thought that he had some nice touches too. I don't look at Hines' game in this one and go, it's a shit performance. Like, I think he just played his role as a 6.
Yeah, I think so too. Obviously, if Trindle's the guy, then you've got to put the blame, or not the blame, but like it can't be all on Hines if it doesn't go their way. I think they played well enough. I saw good signs. Their side is pretty settled from last year, so I think it was disappointing that they didn't get the win over a side who has really had a lot of changes. They're pretty much the only side that was coming into this game. Like, you knew who the 17 was going to be, but...
I tell you what, I think the one criticism you got to have for the Sharks is their pack. If they don't have Adam Fanua-Blake in this game, they get smashed.
Oh, 100%. I think that's always been an issue for them, and Adam Fanua-Blake coming over to the club was obviously... It was going to fix that potentially, but I don't know. I think they need someone else to come out, like whether a Tom Hazelton... has another breakout year again.
I don't think you can realistically have Adam Fanua-Blake carrying for 54 minutes and running 200 metres.
I thought he would play less minutes than that, to be honest, and they're obviously going to use him a lot more.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I thought Talakai, if I'm crediting anyone, I think that he was probably the only guy that sort of came on and other than Adam Fanua-Blake had a bit of impact. Defensively was like flying out of the line, hitting blokes. That point of difference, having a bit more leg speed in that experience playing centre. I thought that he was good through the middle as well. But like Kafusi, I just feel like he copped the brunt of the start of that game and got smashed a bit through the middle. I thought that as well. Nikora wasn't at his best. I thought that he had some really nice moments, but the Penrith Panthers defence on that right side, not the right side, the left side, seemed to shut him down, which is insane because that was their weaker edge. I almost think that they didn't go right enough, too. I feel like they it was so many times where I looked at it and just go right.
Yeah,
they've got Laurie, they've got Garner. You're going to score points down there. You did it in the first 3 minutes. Like, why?
And that's the issue with having a guy like Trindle as the halfback. It doesn't seem like he's identifying this stuff. And I think Hines, as the experienced person, he's still only 3 or 4 years into playing halves.
Yeah.
But he's got to overcall there and be like, come on, we've got to start attacking this edge. And I think that's where the dynamic of the halves still comes into question. If Hines isn't confident enough to overcall, then... It's never going to work, this combo, because they're just not going to trust each other.
Yeah, I can agree with parts of that. I feel like, Trindle, having that confidence, I think that he's a big reason, as well as Adam Fanua-Blake, as to why they were so ahead in this game. But I do agree, like, you got to have Hines being able to say, look, the 7's on my back here. I'm the guy that's making the big plays. Get the ball to me. He's definitely got to have that confidence as well. I want to bring someone up before we go into your next bloke, mate. I think Will Kennedy has copped a lot of criticism coming in this year.
I was about to say, I think he played well.
I think he did what he needs to do. Like, a lot of people are expecting him to be another Edwards, Tedesco, Ponga, Walsh. All of these guys that have amazing plays in games. He isn't that dude. He's the point of difference to those guys. Because you've got guys like Mulatalo, Ramian, Trindle, Hines, Fanua-Blake, Brayley, McInnes through the middle, Talakai. You've got a star-studded lineup. All game breakers in there, right? You don't need a game-breaking fullback.
I get that, but I think Will Kennedy needs to be that guy that can bring the best out of these guys.
I think he did.
Give them the ball. I think he was very safe. I thought he played very well.
Yeah.
But I just don't think he's the guy that's going to take them to a premiership still.
I think they can win a comp with Kennedy easy. I think that his temperament coming into games, he's safe. Didn't make any errors, I don't think, on the weekend. Let's have a look. Yeah, no errors. Ran for 145 metres. It's still a lot more than what other fullbacks in the comp are doing. I mean, he's playing really, really well. 2-tackle bust. And just like the execution, like I sort of spoke about on the podcast yesterday, the perfect example is 2022-2023 Reece Walsh. Look at his game. He is a game breaker. He can do a lot of things for you, but he executes at about 55-60%, right? A lot of errors in that game. I would take a guy that executes at 85 to 90%, like a Kennedy, and does it really, really well, just finishes off plays and, gets the ball to the right people. I would take that over a guy that completes at 55 to 60%, makes a lot of errors, and costs your side ball. I think that's, in my opinion, more valuable.
Disagree, because that's what Dylan Edwards was for a long time. But when he executes at a high percentage, but like he brings his ball playing has come along. He makes more line breaks. He's a meter eater. Like, he's really rounded out his game. I think Will Kennedy needs to round out his game.
Yeah.
And like with a Reece Walsh completing at 55 to 60% compared to him at 85%, like him completing at 85% is still getting you less results than Reece Walsh completing at 55, 60%.
I disagree. I mean, they're keeping the ball in hand, for the most part. I mean, they did make a few errors in the middle, but like not at the fault of Will Kennedy. He was catching the ball every time. He was making decent meters out of yardage. Still had a pretty decent game. But yeah, sure, like maybe you add an offload. Maybe you add maybe a little bit more of a point of difference and a little bit more X factor. Maybe he does sort of build a bit of confidence to run plays on his own.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I think that you can still win a comp with Will Kennedy. I don't think you aren't, because of him and because he isn't X factor enough. I don't think that's going to hinder them from winning a comp. I think that Hines, Trindle, AFB, Brayley, these sort of guys, they'll be that X factor. And if he plays off the back of that and executes those low percentage plays, that's going to put them in a lot further stead to obviously getting closer to a premiership.
And I guess they made a prelim with him at fullback last year.
Yeah, exactly.
But if he plays like he did yesterday every single game, then I think they'll be okay. Whether they can actually win a comp, I don't know. I just think with Trindle and Hines just not being sure on that combo, you need a fullback there that can really just add a bit to what they're doing. And I get what you're saying, though, got, like, we've seen the Roosters in the past with all their chefs in the kitchen, like, it's too much to deal with sometimes. And Will Kennedy, if you can get the best out of him, he could be the perfect halfback for the side.
Well, look, I think as well, like, you talk about, Hines not getting enough ball and not having confidence to get the ball in his hand. Could you imagine if there's another guy taking the ball off him?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that Kennedy's doing the right thing on his end by, playing off the back of his halves. I think it's more so for me, and, obviously you said it yourself as well, the confidence of Hines to get the ball in those moments and get the attack going on that right side.
Yeah. Blake Brayley was good.
He was good. 61 tackles.
I think, crazy. 93% tackle efficiency. I think he's going to have a big year off the back of Fanua-Blake. But apart from that, McInnes was good.
Tig Walton was good.
Yeah, I think with the Sharks, good signs, and I think unlike most years, it doesn't seem like they're coming out of the grounds hot, which is a good thing because I think the last few years they've really come out of the gates flying and won a lot of games nice and early. And towards the end of the year is when you start to see the cracks. So maybe they're.
I'll tell you what though, I think the big positive is the fact that it's a 6-point deficit. It's not a 20-point deficit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were able to stay in this game for a long period. Like there were moments you were watching that game and going, they're getting bashed through the middle. Like how are they staying in this contest?
Yeah.
The fact that they were able to do that defensively, very Craig Fitzgibbon side. I'm impressed with the Sharks. I think that they did well against the Panthers in round 1, as well as any side would have done. That's a top 4 side. But now just obviously adding those building blocks, working out the minutes disparity of Adam Fanua-Blake, getting confidence into Nico Hines. I think the big thing for Hines this year is when he realises he's not playing Origin. He doesn't have any of that pressure to make those sides or to be that guy, and he can just focus on his footy. That's going to be the best thing for Hines because then he's going to be able to build on his game as a Cronulla Shark.
Yep. All right. Who is your burster of the week for this side?
My burster of the week, mate. It's got to be Tricky Trindle.
For me, I've got Ramian.
Yeah.
I think Ramian was outstanding. Okay, cool. Best bet of the week next week. Shout out to Picklebet. Use the code TURBO when signing up. I haven't quite looked into it yet at the moment, but there was a game that I was very keen on, and I'll just get the odds up now for it.
Go for it.
I've got the Dragons at $2.50 to beat the Bulldogs next week.
Ooh, I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all.
At Nexstrata Jubilee Stadium, $2.50. Use code TURBO on Picklebet. Make sure to know what you're really gambling with. For free and confidential support, call 1-800-858-858. Anything that tickles your fancy?
Mate, I'm just taking a little squizzy diz at the odds now for Picklebet. I think the game of the week is going to be that last one, the Storm and the Parramatta Eels.
It's going to be a good Sunday Arvo game.
Yeah, I'm probably going to take the Melbourne Storm to win in a close one, probably around the 1-12 mark. That's paying $3. Not too bad value there. I'd probably go Storm to win by that 1-12 margin.
Yep, 100%. I do have one question before we head off.
Yep.
It's a hypothetical for you.
Ooh.
Would you rather have a deaf hooker or a halfback that has no peripheral vision?
A deaf hooker? Oh. God, that's a question.
Both elite at what they do.
Okay, right. A halfback with no peripheral vision. Oh, shit. Well, look, I think a hooker that's deaf is probably better because at least they can see what's beside them, what's happening, and they can make those decisions. Whereas a halfback with no peripheral vision, he doesn't know the numbers that he has. I think that you're screwed as a halfback if there's no peripheral vision. So I'm going to go the hooker itself.
That's a bad comparison, isn't it?
It is.
All right. Geez, two games, 1 hour. Geez, we're going to need to decompress next week. But definitely got to go through it. And footy's back.
Footy's back, mate. I'm keen.
Good.
I'm so keen for next week. It's going to be a real good, nice opening round of football. Kicking off with the Roosters and the Broncos too.
I'm very keen. Thursday night. We don't have to wait till Sunday anymore.
I know.
How
perfect.
Good. Thursday night footy. Friday night footy starts at 6 p.m. So we don't get scrapped of the 6 p.m. game. We do get scrapped of the Saturday 3 o'clock game. And there's only one Sunday game. But I think easing us into it, that's enough. I'm happy with 6 games of footy. But thank you for tuning in this week. Thanks, Leroy. Les?
All good, mate. All good. I thought I was in trouble then. He used my full name.
All right. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.